I suppose this is the reality. And she does seem to make him happy.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the events, moments, and characters that would have made for compelling storylines, but alas, didn't make the cut. If you're not yet caught up, here's your spoiler warning.
Have you learned nothing in the time you've been on the throne?
Number 10. Prince Edward and Sophie Rhys-Jones' wedding. The Crown acknowledges the rise and fall of 3 royal romances in the latter half of the series to varying extents.
There's so much we could have done differently. Second time round.
All right. Now that we're here, a review of the marriage.
However, it skips the nuptials between the Queen's youngest son, Prince Edward, and Sophie Rhys-Jones, which, as of writing, is still going strong. Their paths crossed at a tennis event in 1993. Clearly, it was a game-set match. In 1999, they tied the knot in a more understated, by royal standards, celebration that reportedly still captivated 200 million spectators.
Rumoured to be 4 feet high, have 4 tiers, and be decorated with daffodils, reflecting Sophie's Welsh origins, and it will also have on it tennis rackets, recalling the couple's first meeting as we should.
The now Duchess would have been considered a commoner before marrying into royalty. And well, who doesn't love a good old Cinderella story? This love story could have offered an intriguing parallel to Prince William and Kate Middleton's.
I thought you weren't interested. I thought I'd blown it that day in the library.
And I'd started to worry that we drifted into the dreaded friend zone.
Oh no, I'd hate that.
So would I.
Number 9. Diana grieves her good friend Gianni Versace. In the first 4 episodes of Season 6, we explore Princess Diana's last summer before her tragic accident. While some key events are covered, it overlooks Diana's profound sadness at the sudden death of her friend Gianni Versace. Reports say she heard the news while on a yacht with Dodi Al-Fayed, which fits into the season's timeline.
Men's hands are so important. Like their lips have to be just the right temperature.
Diana's reported reaction reflected her deep grief and growing anxieties about a similar fate at the hands of the royal family.
Did Princess Diana ever express any fears to you that senior royals and British intelligence services were conspiring to plan an accident in her car?
No.
Al-Fayed's bodyguard Lee Sansom recalled her asking, quote, "Do you think they'll do that to me?" Her concerns about the royals are briefly mentioned in the penultimate episode, but blending this storyline could have added another layer to Diana's story.
In which she wrote of her suspicions that you were plotting a deliberate brake failure in her vehicle so as to remove any obstacles to your remarriage.
What? No.
Number 8. The turn of the Millennium. Many rulers have overseen the turn of a century, but far fewer can say they were monarchs at the turn of the millennium. The year 2000 brings memories of Y2K buzz, excitement, apprehension, the millennium bug, anyone?
Credit cards and ATMs may cease to function. Airplanes and trains may come to a halt.
Yet the event slides by with very little fanfare on the Crown.
And finally, ma'am, your visit to Brighton and Hove as one of the government's designated Millennium cities.
Yes.
I have drafted a programme of engagements that I hope preserves the traditional but adds a somewhat modern sensibility.
At the very least, they could have included the opening of the Millennium Dome, now the O2, and who wouldn't have wanted to see the Queen reluctantly joining hands with the Blairs and others for a round of Auld Lang Syne? Sure, the UK welcomed the new millennium with more of a fizz than a bang, but there was still plenty of untapped potential for captivating storylines.
Cherie Blair in full voice before the royal party had even linked arms.
Number 7. A packed political landscape. Season 6 mostly focuses on the peak and decline of King Tony, covering significant events like the Iraq invasion. However, did you know he also introduced the minimum wage, enforced the Civil Partnership Act for same-sex unions, and invested heavily in education and healthcare reforms?
Since you entered number 10, you've shown an uncanny ability to read the mood of the country better than anyone.
Despite these accomplishments at home, his time as Prime Minister is mostly remembered for the controversial decisions in foreign affairs.
Do you remember when he first came to power? They took to the streets and cheered. Now they want to impeach him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Tony Blair has become Tony Blair.
The series also missed an opportunity to explore the Treaty of Amsterdam, which primarily aimed to help the EU grow and introduce changes in justice, social policy, environmental conservation, and more. Delving into this could have added an interesting perspective, especially with the foresight of Brexit to shape the story.
The European Parliament and the member states had almost equal voting power in 23 policy areas, including employment, health, transport, and the environment.
Number 6. Diana sets her sights on Hollywood. After leaving the royal family, Diana contemplated a fresh start across the pond, and it seems Hollywood came calling.
I'll tell you what, you leave me and my boys alone, please. And you're all going to get a big surprise with the next thing I do.
Oh, what's that? What do you mean a big surprise?
You'll see.
In fact, discussions about her starring in a sequel to the 1992 box office hit The Bodyguard were confirmed by none other than the star himself, Kevin Costner. Apparently, her ex-sister-in-law, Sarah Ferguson, aka Fergie, convinced her to consider the role.
Sarah was really instrumental in that. She was really, and something I always admired about Sarah was how open she was to that idea and how supportive she was.
There was even supposedly a script in the works, potentially mirroring Diana's life as a public figure. Unfortunately, Diana passed away before the project took off. Just imagine the potential this presents for a captivating storyline in The Crown. At the very least, it could have offered a glimpse into the movie that never came to be.
She knew that we were working on it with her in mind. I didn't talk to anybody about it. That was just private between her and I.
So she was interested?
Yeah, she was interested.
Number 5. The Good Friday Agreement. The series has previously touched on the Troubles in Northern Ireland, albeit very loosely and not always entirely accurately.
To escalate our efforts, redouble our militancy, spill more blood so that the Crown retreats and leaves Ireland forever.
Season 6 had an opportunity to rectify that by delving into the 1997 Northern Ireland riots, a pivotal event marked by long-standing conflicts, mass protests, and clashes between Irish nationalists and governmental entities. This history could have been explored in an episode highlighting Tony Blair's instrumental role in establishing the Good Friday Agreement, which was key in bringing peace to the region.
The principle of consent is absolute and is throughout the agreement. And the breakthrough is that is now accepted by all, North and South.
The episode could have ended with the Queen's 2002 visit to Northern Ireland during her Golden Jubilee tour.
In celebration of the Jubilee, two themes constantly recur. First, everyone refers to the sheer scope of the change over the 50 years.
Perhaps we'd see her paying respects to the victims of the IRA's devastating 1998 Omagh attack. Number 4. More of Diana's philanthropy. Revered as the People's Princess, Diana earned admiration for her boundless compassion and dedication to positive change.
From here I go back to London to see the boys before they go to Balmoral with their father. I go to Bosnia with a landmine charity, but that still leaves time.
While Season 6 spotlights her famous landmine walk, Diana was involved in numerous humanitarian causes. She actively advocated for better HIV/AIDS understanding, fought against poverty and illness, supported vulnerable youth, and challenged mental health stigmas.
That's very generous. What's your name?
Catherine.
Kate's fine. So thank you to Kate.
The series missed chances to showcase her significant meeting with Nelson Mandela or her visit to the White House with First Lady Hillary Clinton as a Red Cross representative. They could have shown her journey to Pakistan, where she raised funds for a new hospital, echoing her Harlem hospital visit from Season 4. These are just some examples of her global impact.
What? Someone's got to go out onto the streets, give people the love that they need.
Number 3. Princes William and Harry meet Camilla for the first time. Now that we think about it, did Camilla even share any screen time with the princes before her wedding to their father? Considering they were probably aware of the relationship's history, incorporating their first meeting could have added substantial drama.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage.
Reportedly, Prince Charles planned a discreet introduction ahead of his 50th birthday party. However, fate had other plans when Prince William paid an unexpectedly early visit to the palace, but their introduction apparently went well.
This is the reality. And she does seem to make him happy.
Does she?
And having him happy and settled is good for us. And ultimately, good for
Accounts also suggest Prince Harry's first meeting was cordial, but he felt she was somewhat indifferent towards him. He even went so far as to liken the encounter to getting an injection. Yikes. This scene practically writes itself.
I can't believe you caved like that. I didn't cave, I'm just being a realist.
And changing your tune and not saying what you feel.
That's what being a realist is.
Such a company, man.
Number 2. The Queen Mother's 100th birthday. While hitting 100 may become more common in the future, in 2012, the United Nations reported that only 316,000 individuals, that's less than 1% of the global population, lived to see triple digits.
Have you learned nothing in the time you've been on the throne? Prime Ministers come in on a blaze of popularity and goodwill.
And leave on a stretcher a few years later with their reputations and usually their health in tatters.
Yes.
We imagine that number was even smaller just over a decade earlier, when the Queen Mother became the first British royal to reach this milestone.
Today, the most loved member of the royal family was celebrating her 100th birthday at a banquet in the city.
It's surprising that such a momentous event didn't get more attention in The Crown. We're not suggesting it needed a whole episode, but it feels like a missed opportunity not to recreate some of the joyful celebrations that mark this historic occasion. If you ask us, this was a landmark moment well worth revisiting.
Thank you. To all those who come from far and near to take part in this lovely brigade.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Diana's iconic 1997 Christys auction. We've delved into Diana's charitable endeavors, but her status as a fashion icon deserves some attention too.
I like your swimming costume, by the way. Who's the designer of that?
I didn't know you were so interested in fashion, Nick.
Did you choose it deliberately?
Deliberately her.
In 1997, Vanity Fair featured her as their cover girl, accompanied by a candid spread about her desire for a fresh start. However, a captivating way to revisit her iconic looks would have been to recreate her 1997 Christys auction. With 79 outfits reportedly on offer, it wasn't just about fundraising, it served as a symbolic bookend to her pre-divorce life. Notably, the dress she wore during her dance with John Travolta at the White House in 1985 fetched a then record-breaking $222,500. Surely they could have found a Travolta lookalike to recreate that moment flashback style.
She turns around and looks at me and she had that kind of bashful dip that she did, and she looked up at me and I said, would you care to dance with me? And she said, yes.
Talk about iconic.
I think that Princess Diana gave us a lot of fashion moments that now recur. Yeah, there's not many people who have done that in the history of fashion, and she's one of them.
Which moment from royal history would you have wanted to see in The Crown's final season? Let us know in the comments.
You sure you didn't forget half of it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.